display of authority and power whereby folks who have nothing are in jail with no bail, while folks who go out and commit real crimes like murder, like attempted murder, like rape, are given money bail. So this speaks volumes about the essence of the system that's pitted against these individuals who have stood up for the rights of disenfranchised folks, of street vendors, of undocumented people, of folks who are brutalized by the very system that is now attempting to brutalize them in court. By what? By incarcerating them with no bail, something which the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution entitles them to. Last I remember, we have the right to bail in a court of law in this country. Last I remember, we have the right to due process of law in a court of law. So my job and the job of the defense attorneys in this case is to put the system to that test on behalf of these individuals. The test of the right to due process, the test of the presumption of innocence, the test of the right to bail. Practice what you preach. The system's about due process, the system's about the right to bail, then practice what you preach. And we're here to make sure that that is put into practice. And what I will say in line with that, I have already sent an informal request to the prosecutors in this case via email, requesting that they turn over all communications between the mayor of Fontana, the sheriff's department, the Pomona Police Department, as well as the district attorney's office in relation to this investigation and this case. Why? Because the mayor apparently is a witness in that they referred to the protest in front of her home at the preliminary hearing, as you might recall. So guess what? That makes her a witness. So anything she has to say to law enforcement, to the Pomona Police Department particularly, to the Sheriff's Department, to the DA's office, is discoverable under the Penal Code and under the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, I emailed them 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. I have yet to hear back from them. All the other attorneys joined in my request via email. We've yet to hear back from them in that regard. I imagine, based on the way things are going right now, that they're either going to ignore my request or they're going to just say, no, you don't get that stuff. So, fine. I'll bring a motion in court, we'll argue that before the judge, and then we'll have the judge decide whether we're entitled to the communications between the mayor, who is supposedly a public servant, who happens to be a witness in this case, the DA's office, the Pomona Police Department, and the Sheriff's Department. Now let's see whether they're willing to come to court and say in a public forum that no, ladies and gentlemen, no, you don't get that stuff. No, you don't get to hear about what we chatted about before we incarcerated Mr. Enamorado, Ms. Carrasco, and all the other individuals in here. So my job is to put them to the test, to make them practice what they preach. That's all I'm saying. Practice what you preach. You talk about civil rights, you talk about the Bill of Rights, you talk about the land of the free, home of the brave, you talk about we have the best system in the world, then practice what you preach. Come on, let's see it. Let's see it.
Attorney, I have a question.
Hold on one second.
Oh, yes,
and the beautiful thing that we have in this system, and that we still have, is the right to jury trial. To have this case in front of a jury of regular average people, not politicians, not judges who are appointed by the governor, not individuals who are elected by folks who have prejudices against people who are charged with crimes, I should say. So we still have that right to jury trial in this system, and we're anticipating a trial that will ultimately vindicate our clients, and my client in particular, Ms. Carrasco, and I'll speak about her in particular. She had absolutely nothing to do with any of this. She was only there by their argument, and that's it. Is that enough to convict somebody of conspiracy? Convict somebody of being part and parcel of some sort of an organized crime? No, it's not. All right.
No.
Yeah. So, If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
What did the judge mean by change of circumstances?
So under the law, in order to ask for bail reduction in the middle of a case, the defense must establish that there has been what is called a change of circumstances, that something substantive has changed in the case that would justify bringing up the issue again to the court, the issue of bail. He claimed that there was no change in circumstances. Now, our argument is that clearly there was a change in circumstances. The judge, quite frankly, dismissed a few of the counts in relation to all of these individuals. So, if that's the case, that's a change in circumstances. The fact of the matter is we had a legal basis to ask for bail reduction. He's claiming we didn't. Something we'll take up on appeal. We'll let the Court of Appeals decide.
In this letter you sent regarding the conversations between the mayor and so forth, who did you send that to?
I sent that to John Richardson, the Deputy District Attorney, with whom I've been in contact throughout this case and who's been in court advocating on behalf of the government.
How long do they have to respond to you? I mean, is this like a California?
Under the law, they have 15 days from the date of my request to respond to my request, and if they don't respond within 15 days, then I can file a motion to compel. But that's with respect to the penal code. Under the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, we're entitled to any exculpatory information that they have in their possession, right? Because prosecutors are not supposed to seek out convictions at all costs. They're supposed to ensure that the guilty are convicted and the innocent go free. So this isn't a game of them hiding evidence so as to win a conviction, right? This is supposed to be a system in which they turn over stuff that will help the defense, right? This isn't a game in which they can hide stuff so that they can get a conviction at all costs. So I'm putting their feet to the fire and I'm asking them to turn over that which I believe sincerely is constitutionally mandated under the 14th Amendment and the presumption of innocence.
Attorney,
What other constitutional violations do you see here, sir?
I see a violation of the right to bail. I see a violation of the right to due process. I see potentially the violation of the right to a fair trial. Why is the sheriff of San Bernardino County going, while this case is pending, on the local news and giving interviews about this case? For what?
Political.
Paint a potential jury so as to deprive these folks of their rights under the 6th Amendment and the 14th Amendment? The 6th Amendment guarantees a fair trial. The 14th Amendment guarantees due process of law. You should know better than that. The case is pending and he's making public statements in relation to it.
What do you make of 10 deputies in the courtroom?
That's indicative of the violation of due process against these individuals. Who are these people in their minds? Are they terrorists? Are they members of ISIS or Hamas or something to that effect that require all that? Are they afraid of the folks in the audience?
Attorney, I wanted to ask you specifically about that. At the end, they said that whatever we're doing here is actually like affecting the court. ¿Cuál es tu opinión sobre la forma en que la corte está diciendo sobre que los activistas usando el primer mandamiento de la Constitución es ilegal? What's your opinion on them?
My opinion is that they're not used to having the people in court. They're not used to having the people in court advocating for defendants to this extent. And what they want to do is make sure that everyone in court stays in line, and by saying stays in line, I mean follows everything that they say to a T, even if it's arbitrary and prejudicial and indicative of a violation of your rights to observe all this stuff as members of this state, this country, as citizens of this country, as inhabitants of this country who have rights under the U.S. Constitution and the law.
I was harassed for bringing a camera and giving this paper for the
Right.
rules.
So that's wrong. You have the right, if you are a journalist, to provide them that documentation, to seek out that sort of accommodation, to film or to be able to record.
Seeing everything that we've been seeing in Victorville, for example, the first arraignment, they hid them. They weren't on the docket. They weren't on calendar. I don't think that they were going to have a fair trial here. If you can answer, are you guys planning to?
That's something that everybody knows. The prosecutors know that. The judges know that we're going to file a motion in that regard eventually. Do I think that they'll grant the motion? No. Do I think that they'll allow us to ship this over to LA County? No, I don't. operates. I know in which the way in which the judges operate. The true hope, the beauty of the system.
See, I came in with my camera and they're like, they gave me all this bullshit talking about, and I'm like, the camera's off. I'm not recording.
Oh, did you bring it in the courtroom?
Yeah, well, I was trying to. I left it in my car, and I was like, oh, you could bring cameras. So I'm like, yo, if everybody has camera, why the hell you selected me specifically? Like, what's
Yeah.
But it's just harassment. This is kidnapping by the state. This is literally kidnapping by the state. It's ridiculous. I'm from LA, but I'm Colombian from New York myself. But I protested with Alex before.
What kind of camera you have?
D500. No, baby, no, not much.
You find that.
That's fine.
Yeah.